Hey, on today's podcast, we might discuss some topics that are a little bit graphic in nature, so if that's something that you don't want to listen to, listener discretion is advised.
I am gonna die.
You know what you should do is take some ketamine and then go skydiving.
You are listening to EMS with your hosts, Erik Axene and Matt Ball.
All right, so today, this is kind of a trend on social media, you might say, but 5 things you would never do as a firefighter, paramedic, or an ER physician.
Well, trend or no trend, I think it's just
It's kind of an interesting little topic.
It's something, I mean, it's interesting to think about the things you wouldn't do.
Exactly, especially from the experiences that we've had.
Right.
Pre-hospital and in-hospital, like the things that we've kind of seen. But before we get started, if you like our content, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. Also, we do continuing education. We have a full website that has a whole complement of hundreds of hours of CE content. So if you like our stuff, there'll be a link in the description. Go to our website and check us out.
What makes our stuff different, Matt? What do we do that's unique?
Oh, well, first, there's lots of things.
I hate that we call it continuing education because it's really not.
That's true. There's lots of things that we do that make our content unique, and a lot of people say that, but I truly think when people look at our product compared to others, not that others are bad, it's just different, right? And we think it's different in a good way. Yeah. First off, we have a doctor, we have different levels of providers. There's always 2 of us communicating with each other on set, which gives, we've been told,
a conversation feel.
Yeah, it's a podcasty conversation feel. And several of our customers have said they like the fact that, like a paramedic talking to an ER doctor, like I can ask you questions that they would like to ask an ER doctor. So different perspectives as part of the healthcare team, and they kind of like that. They like our view.
And I think our topic today relates to kind of the core of what makes us unique, because some of what we do, I believe, would be on some people's list of things they'd never do.
True.
I mean, we're planning a lecture coming up here soon. We're going to play with sharks.
You already held a rattlesnake.
Rattlesnakes. We intubate ourselves.
I owed your leg.
Yeah, you know, these are...
under safe conditions.
Of course, but...
It's like professional rider on a closed course kind of thing.
and you know, with your history with horses, I mean, getting into some rodeo to teach blunt trauma. I mean, we are doing things that are a little bit on the edge to get people's attention, to engage them, right?
That's right.
So
that's right. Exciting stuff.
So what are we doing today? What are we going to talk about?
I made a list and you made a list of the 5 things.
Mm-hmm. This is your list.
That's my list. You're going to go through. We'll go through them one by one. We'll kind of bounce back and forth. So,
and I have not read this list yet.
That's correct, and I have not seen your list either, so this will be interesting. So you start, and then we'll kind of talk about each one.
No, I say we rock, paper, scissors this.
Oh, okay.
So rock, paper, scissors, shoot, right?
Yes. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
You beat me. You want to start, or do you want me to start? Okay.
I'll start. Okay, so number 1 on your list is...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Now, when I made my list, okay...
Caveat to the list?
Yeah, it's like... These are things, like some of these things are things that I choose not to do because it's just gross to me. You'll see my list. And some of the things are from experiences I've had where they've been really scary. I don't want to experience that again. And some of them are just things that just plain scare me. I don't want to do.
So none of the things on your list are things that you have seen as an ER doctor? Like you've seen, like a lot of people when they do this thing, like I'd never ride a motorcycle. That's the dumbest thing you can do.
Well, actually, I have had patients. The first one you're going to read in just a moment is related to some patients I've seen.
So it has been that.
But that's the context to what I picked. These are not necessarily inspired by patients, but the first one kind of is. But some of these things are really kind of silly and like a quirky thing for me.
It's more of a personal thing, not necessarily an ER doctor thing. Yeah. See, most of the things that I wrote on my list were things from the perspective as I've seen as a firefighter paramedic. That was kind of, it doesn't matter either way, but that was kind of more the way that I understood the thing was, it was like based on what you've seen. Yeah. Things that you would...
Because you know me pretty well, and some of the things that you know of me, you wouldn't have been surprised. So I was trying to find some things to kind of surprise you too. But
okay.
Go ahead, sorry.
All right, number 1. This is kind of interesting actually. Skydive.
Yeah.
You would never skydive.
No.
That's interesting to me. Because I would think you're a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. I've talked to your brother. He's definitely an adrenaline junkie, would you not say?
Oh, yeah.
And I would think you were that way too.
Yeah, well, I am that way. I bungee jumped. I'm kind of crazy, but
you bungee jump, but you wouldn't skydive.
Right. Oh, definitely.
That's interesting.
Because see, like when you bungee jump, I mean, they calculate your weight, and you are attached with this giant elastic, cord. And when I did it up in Canada, I did it over a river. And if it were to break, it's not going to break up high. It's going to break down low point, or, and there are risks, obviously, but I think the risks are lower than being at 10,000 feet with a chute that was potentially packed improperly, with a backup system that could fail. And if something goes wrong, a couple things go wrong.
There's very few people that survive skydiving accidents.
No, I had a patient, though, that did.
Oh, I mean, some do. But did his chute completely not open? Or
he actually, I think it didn't properly open, so he hit the ground at a high velocity.
So it's still kind of open and slow. It wasn't like,
he wouldn't have lived otherwise. But he hit pretty hard and had some major injuries, major trauma. And he was admitted, level 1 trauma, kind of major injuries.
I would think so.
But he survived. Military guy survived.
Oh, this was a military guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
this was in California,
Interesting.
in Riverside County, where I was. There's a big skydiving area, world famous skydiving area.
Yeah.
And this guy hit the ground really hard and was rushed to our hospital. And we treated his injuries. And so to me, that influenced this thing where I would rather bungee jump than skydive. To me, that's just
I guess I just think about like the people I've seen running the methods. I mean, the people that I've seen running the bungee jump booths.
Yeah, okay.
They kind of make me a little. I think people doing a skydiving thing would. I mean, accidents happen, right? You can go through. I mean, sometimes things just happen.
True. That's true.
I thought maybe skydiving would be more licensed. And probably there'd be a little bit more regulations to those, but I don't know. I mean, obviously.
If I was really going to decide to skydive or not, I even though I'm afraid of it, I think I would have to look at the data and then maybe.
Shocking! You'd have to look at.
Well, we do have a video. We are planning to do the I Fly, that indoor skydiving for one of our lectures. We'll be doing that.
Oh,
but that's not really skydiving.
Yeah, I'm down with that. All right.
Okay, do drugs.
Yeah, I would never
do drugs. See, to me that's like a
no-brainer.
A no-brainer.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I guess I'm basing
that's good though. I mean,
I mean, I would think so. Thank you.
I hear you.
I mean, I've been just based on the calls that I go on, not just like the overdoses, but the effect that it has on your life. Like, I mean, the conditions that these people live in, and they just don't take care of themselves, and just their overall health just gets everything financially ruined. Your family's ruined. Your body's ruined. It's just so destructive,
Yeah. Well, we talked about addiction in a previous podcast a while ago, and I think part of it is how you define the word drug. Remember we listed the most deadly drugs?
Yeah.
How do you define the word drug when you say no drugs?
I mean, I would say obviously any kind of illegal drug.
Illegal, okay.
Any kind of illegal. Now, there's some controversy over, like marijuana or things like that, but I'm talking more about like the hardcore stuff, like the fentanyl that's out on the street.
Yeah.
Not the fentanyl that's prescribed by your doctor for pain or that you get in a surgery center. Yeah. Heroin, obviously, is absolutely devastating. Flocka, all those.
Flocka?
Oh, man.
What's Flocka?
It's like a synthetic THC marijuana.
Oh, really?
And unquestionably, the K2 and the Flocka patients have been the most violent patients I've ever had.
Oh, really?
I mean, I don't know that I've ever had a patient on PCP that I knew of, that it was like confirmed, but I have had several patients either that have been on Flocka or K2, and it's a straight up fight with them. Okay. I mean, they are just super violent, super aggressive, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, those are the kind of drugs that I'm talking about.
If I held a gun to your head and you had to do a drug, an illegal drug, because I know you'd never do it, but if you had to do it, I mean, this is a totally ridiculous situation.
Yeah, okay.
But you had to choose an illegal drug.
That's hard.
Just any illegal drug. You had to choose one.
Yeah.
To do.
Yeah.
What an unrealistic situation, but choose one.
Honestly, I would probably say, like, right off, probably marijuana, because I feel like that would probably be the safest one to do.
Yeah.
But then again, from what I understand, heroin is like the most, that's why people get so addicted to it, is because it's the most euphoric feeling they've ever had in their life.
I've heard people say, and I think we talked about this in our addiction lecture, but cocaine, it's like an orgasm times 100 or whatever.
Yeah, see, I've talked to people that have done cocaine, and they said it feels like you just feel like you could go bench press a car. Yeah. Like they just feel absolutely invincible. Yeah. So I don't know. It's I'd probably marijuana just because I think
That's
that
a
would
good
probably
answer.
be the safest.
You know what I would say?
What?
Ketamine.
Oh, really?
Ketamine. Yeah, special K. And you know why I say that though? Is and we talk about
wanna
this
go
in our
in the K-hole?
ketamine. Well, no, I don't want to go in the K
You
hole.
want to go tripping out?
Well, no.
You know what you should do is take some ketamine and then go skydiving.
There we go. Well, the reason I say that is because, now, full transparency, is I tend to struggle with kind of the depressive things. I'm going to air. I mean, listen.
Really?
Listen. I'm a happy person, but if I'm honest with you, like
Sure.
if I had to say if I struggled, with something with mental health, it would be I would err more towards a depression, kind of hard on myself, and so ketamine, though, is a treatment for
Yep.
depression.
Well, we're
like we
gonna do a
talked about that,
podcast.
right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So. Anyway, that would be the way.
All
Go.
right,
We're
okay.
getting off in
All right.
the K hole.
So
here.
you did mine. I did your first. Your number 2, big wave surf. Interesting. You would never big wave surf.
No, I'm afraid. I'm
completely agree.
afraid of the ocean.
I would never big wave surf either.
So I was a kid, and I think I was about 13, and I was in some big waves.
Okay.
Unexpectedly huge waves.
Where was this? California, Hawaii?
Hawaii. I was 13. There was
Must be nice to go to
family
Hawaii.
reunion. Oh, I couldn't afford it, but in family reunion. We're in Hawaii, and fast forward to the end of my story.
Yeah.
There's nobody on the beach anymore because the water had gone all the way into the parking lot. That's how big these waves were that I was stuck in. They were huge.
Stuck. Like, what do you mean stuck?
Well, the first wave hit me unexpectedly. I'm out there on a boogie board, ripped my suit off, so I'm naked.
Oh.
I'm naked as a 13-year-old on the beach. I'm already self-conscious because I'm not developed like these other guys, and then I rip my suit off.
And the
Now
water's
I'm
cold.
naked, prepubescent 13-year-old. And I
Oh,
was
so this
mortified.
is why you're more afraid of your
Well,
trunks getting ripped
It
off.
gets worse. So I'm in the water, my suit's ripped off, and the undertow pulls me down.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just thinking, well, I'll just come up after the next wave and then get, take a breath, and I'll figure out what to do later.
Yeah.
But I'm naked, I'm thinking I'm just going to stay on the water.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
maybe flag down my parents
Your
to bring me
sense
something.
of pride overtook your sense of survival.
That was my initial thought.
Yeah.
But then after the first wave took me underwater with such force, dragged me down, and I'm looking through the water. It still sounds like a nightmare. I'm looking through the sand-filled water. I can see the sun shining through, and I'm like just getting up to the surface to just take a breath because I'm starting to get short of breath, right? And it takes me down again. Oh. And then I'm like, oh, that's not good. And then I can remember clear as day. This is so many years ago. I still remember it. Is that I'm like, oh wow, I'm really short of breath now. And then I get up almost, and then it takes me down again. And now I'm like, my chest is heaving. I'm like,
yeah.
I am gonna die.
Super panic.
So I really thought I was gonna die. And then I'm again trying to get up to the surface. It takes me down again. I'm like, this is it. I was freaked the heck out. As a 13-year-old naked kid, I'm not thinking of modesty anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's like all survival.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did end up getting a breath, and then my aunt, she came in and pulled me out of the water and helped me.
Oh, wow.
But I was really freaked out. I was naked.
Your aunt's a hero.
Well, I tell you that story. That's why I'm totally freaked out
Okay.
about waves. So when we go
Well,
to San Diego to do our lecture in the ocean, I'm going to be freaked out about sharks and waves.
Well, I'll be right there with you.
Holding my hand.
We'll hold hands together and be scared together.
Okay, here, next one for you, number
right.
2. Insert any foreign body anywhere.
Correct.
So,
Yes.
please.
Well, I think
Elaborate.
I think we've both probably had experiences with this as healthcare people, where people insert things into orifices that
Yes.
shouldn't have things inserted into them, and it happens quite often for those people that aren't in healthcare, especially somebody that works in a hospital.
Oh yeah.
Would you say almost every day? I mean, fairly frequently somebody comes in. I know
Yeah,
when I was working at a large level 1 hospital in Dallas,
Yeah.
when I was doing my clinicals.
Yeah.
It was almost every day that somebody came in with something stuck up
I
them.
would say every shift there's a foreign body in an orifice.
Yeah.
Now,
and it's not always the rectum. I mean, obviously, but I mean, ears, nose, like
Yes,
kids
yes.
stick things up their nose.
Legos.
Yes.
Ear. I had a gentleman with the part of his hearing aid.
Yeah.
He pulled it out and it was still in his ear, and taking those little forceps
Yep.
and pulling it. That to me is like one of my favorite things to do in the ER. So gratifying and fulfilling. It's like reducing a shoulder.
Yeah.
Fix them.
Fix
They're
them,
done.
treat
get
them,
out.
treat them.
Yeah.
I love it.
But then the other end, It's one of my least favorite.
I don't think people realize that aren't in healthcare that exit hole that we have in the back actually has quite a bit of sort of suction to it. So once something, and maybe this is a PSA, that once something gets pulled up in there, it gets pulled up in there. And sometimes and I always love it how it's like, well, I accidentally sat on it.
Right.
No,
I was
didn't.
Gardening.
Yeah.
Naked?
I was gardening. And I fell on this shampoo bottle.
Well,
What?
we joke, and this is a common chief complaint, and we could do a whole podcast on rectal foreign bodies.
Yes, we could.
But one thing I'll say, though, as an ER doctor, this is one of the most precious things to me. Not rectal foreign bodies.
Okay.
Because it's one of my least favorite
Let's
chief
clarify
complaints.
that statement.
But when a patient comes to me and says, Doc, they're just so honest, and it's a very special, kind of a very private thing, and
Yes.
you're
one person that they're going to be honest
You're
with.
playing around, and then
Yeah.
I'm going to the ER. That's the place people go when they need help
Yep,
with these
yep.
most private things they won't even share with their spouse.
Yep.
And I could tell so many stories, like I said, a whole podcast on this, but that doctor-patient relationship that I just think is so precious is when somebody trusts me with some of the most private things.
Yeah.
I remember a young man was masturbating and put something in his penis, in the meatus, the urethra. And listen, just experimentation, young guy.
Figuring out life.
Figuring out life. I mean, some to each their own, right? But the thing is, though, is that he came to the ER because he was scared.
Sure.
And you know what? It could have caused problems. And we were able to help him.
Yeah.
But it was a very private thing.
Sure.
But he trusted me within that patient-physician relationship, and I felt like it was an honor to be there to help him in a time of.
Yeah.
He was afraid.
Awkward medical
Totally.
emergencies.
And there were so many sexual chief complaints that we could talk about that are in those intimate things, broken penises, ripped vaginas, ripped rectums,
Yes.
cue balls,
Yep.
peanut butter jars, weird stuff.
It's never ending.
Anyway, sorry.
All right.
We got off in the K-hole.
Big wave surf. I said yours. All right, you're third.
Okay, never go to an urgent care with a serious medical issue. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Yes.
You did.
Okay, tell me more.
So, and not like people don't understand. So maybe this is more of an education thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times as a firefighter on an ambulance that we have been called to an urgent care because somebody went there with significant chest pain.
Yeah.
Or they were having stroke-like symptoms. Or some significant illness. Obviously, urgent cares have their place. They're awesome. They keep a lot of patients out of ERs, low acuity patients. But that's the key word, low acuity.
Yeah.
If I'm having chest pain, like significant chest pain, and I'm like maybe diaphoretic or whatever, if I've got a family member that looks like they're having signs of a stroke, don't go to an urgent care. You're just delaying their treatment. Go to a big hospital. Be familiar with the hospitals and their capabilities in your area. Like people take that for granted. And like I said, just as well as I do that time is muscle when it comes to strokes and heart attacks. And if you drive grandma and grandpa to the urgent care, well, they're going to do their little workup, and that's going to take some time, right? And then when they see, grandpa's having a STEMI, then what are they going to do? They have to pick up the phone, call 911. Then we got to come pick them up. You're just delaying that care. Either call 911 to begin with, which is probably the safest option, or take them to a large, because the 911 providers will know where to take them. But this happens every day in our city.
Oh, yeah.
Every single day, and you know that.
You know what you're saying? Mine are so selfish. The ones you came up with actually save lives.
I was just thinking from the perspective of what I've seen pre-hospital.
Yeah, but you're doing good for people. I'm just like talking about
you're like
ridiculous
sticking things in my butt. No big wave surf. All right, here's your third one.
Okay.
What is with you and water? Deep water submarine?
Oh, you kidding me?
You came up with some random stuff here.
Well, think about it. Well,
no,
I'm a little
I
claustrophobic,
agree with you.
but that whole thing, recently with the submarine that went down to look at the Titanic,
just imploded.
We can't get into it in enough time, but the physics involved with that pressure.
Oh.
Do you know you've got
the good thing
1,000 kilograms
per
of weight
inch
on your head right now? Just the air, the column of air on your head. When you're in the water, it's exponentially bigger. Yeah. And the good news is
they felt nothing.
They
they probably had no idea. Just gone. Missed.
But I can't imagine the level of fear I would feel 10,000 feet under the ocean, and you hear the tiniest little creak.
Okay, so
This is the end.
You challenged me with the drugs.
Yeah.
What would you rather do if I put a gun to your head? Jump out of an airplane or submarine dive?
Jump out of an airplane.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
I agree. All right.
Hands down.
You did my 3.
Oh, yeah, no, it's your 4.
Yeah,
Right.
go to 4. Okay.
Drink and drive. Again, something very good not to do.
Yeah.
But people do it.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. Worst wreck. And usually the sad part of the drunk driving wreck is that it's not the guy that's drunk that's usually overly injured. Not always. I mean, sometimes they get hurt, but it's usually the other people that they hit.
Yeah.
That's who suffers from their poor decisions. And those wrecks are usually just terrible, and as you well know, I think that's common knowledge, but it still happens every single day.
The drunk driver, I'm thinking of a story right now, unharmed.
Yeah.
The patient he hit, the family he hit,
Yeah.
multiple people killed.
Yes, I've been on those wrecks. Yeah, they're horrendous. They're super destructive. It's 100% preventable.
Yeah.
100% preventable with lifts and Ubers and taxis and friends, cell phones. There's no reason why, if you have had something to drink or you've done some drugs or something, there's zero excuse why you can't get an Uber. I was actually at a party. And the guy wasn't trying to drive, but he kept trying to get it. Actually, I take that back. He did want to drive. He wanted to drive, and he was super inebriated, like almost falling over inebriated. And we kind of, like, me and several of the guys that I was with were like, he's like, I'm fine, I'm going to my car, I'll be fine. We're like, bro, you ain't driving. Like, we're not even, it's not a question, right? And we literally got his keys. I gave them to my wife. The wife took them off, hid the keys so that he couldn't, it wasn't an option.
Yeah.
We finally went into his phone, ordered an Uber, right? Uber came, and he wasn't being combative. We told the Uber driver kind of when he walked, just stumbling out to the car, we're like, look, he's harmless. He's just drunk. He needs a ride home. So once he was getting in the car, we gave him his keys, kind of slid his keys in, put him in the car, like, take him home. All right, cool. They take off. We're like, all right, that's over. I went back in to say goodbye to everybody because I'm about to leave. I say goodbye. I walk out to my truck. Here he is. He has refused the Uber driver, and he's walking back up the driveway, walking to his car. And I'm like, you idiot, what are you doing? And so I realized, like, okay, this isn't working. So I had to pile him into my truck, and he fell, almost broke my door getting into my truck. He was so drunk. Yeah. Piled him up into my truck, and I drove him home. But yeah, super preventable.
You and I right now, we don't have any alcohol in our system.
Well,
this is water. Anyway, ice water. But really, though, you're talking about a population of people that have taken a drug, alcohol, and now they're disinhibited. Yes. They're not thinking clearly.
Correct.
These people that drink and drive don't want to hurt people.
No, not at all.
But when you're disinhibited, when you drink too much, and it overruns your liver's ability to detoxify the blood, and you get alcohol into your blood, it goes through the blood-brain barrier and messes up your brain, and then you're disinhibited. Yep. So having fun and engaging in that kind of an activity, you got to be smart.
Yes.
And but unfortunately,
lots of options to be safe, and
tough.
People just make
So we each have one left, right?
Well, I got to do your 4.
Yeah.
And this is interesting.
What? Oh, yeah.
Drink my cereal milk?
Yes. One of the grossest things to me. I will never drink my cereal milk. When I'm done eating cereal, and you got that.
No, I know exactly. That's the most delicious part of the cereal.
No,
is to slurp down that sugary goodness.
It's tainted milk now. It's like not milk anymore.
No, okay.
That's gross to me. I will never drink my cereal milk.
So this is nothing from a medical perspective. This is just you think it's gross.
You're talking about these things that have value to society, and I'm talking about cereal milk. It just grosses me out.
Oh, so
most people don't know that
grosses
about
you
me.
out? How does it gross you out? It's cereal milk.
Okay, I'm eating my cereal.
Yeah,
right?
no, I get it.
And I'll have milk with the cereal, obviously.
Yeah, but if you have some Cinnamon Toast Crunch in there, you got all those little bits of cinnamon and sugar.
That it makes me want to gag. To think about drinking milk that has been tainted with whatever cereal was in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I won't. You'll never see me do that.
Weirdo.
No, I bet you there are other people like that out there.
I know
sure my daughter's like that. My wife and my son aren't like that.
No,
they
not
think
at
I'm
all.
a weirdo. But my daughter and I.
No. Interesting.
Quirky thing. Yeah. I can only wink with one eye, too. And my daughter can't wink with...
Wait.
No, my daughter can wink both of her eyes, but my son can't. I can only wink my left eye.
Wait, try to wink with... Wink with your right.
I can't.
You
I can only do
can't
one
do this?
eye. No, I can't do that.
You got to do the mouth. That's
But my wife and my daughter can wink both. My son and I can only wink one eye. I can't do both. Anyway, interesting.
All right,
quirky
number
thing.
5.
Yep. All right. Stop taking my medication.
Yeah. So again, like, you know, and you're a physician, you can speak to this, but numerous times we get called out, patients' blood sugar's out of control, and specifically like blood sugar, right? I don't know how many patients I've had to educate on how to use their insulin and their sliding scale correctly, right? But blood pressure medicine, nitro. They just had a guy the other day, took 4 nitros prior to calling 911. 4. I don't think people realize, I won't say where, but I was working on a volunteer medical team, and there was somebody that was at this event that was experiencing some chest pain. And so myself and the other members of this medical team were kind of assessing this person, talking to them. And this random dude walks up and is like, hey, I got some heart pills. You give him one of these. And was trying to give the guy nitro. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't think they realize how potent some of these meds are. So yeah.
Super powerful.
Don't, you know, what your doctor prescribes, take it the way that you're supposed to take it, when you're supposed to take it. And you probably will not be calling 911 going to the hospital for super high blood pressure.
The other classic one is an antidepressant. It's like, oh, I'm feeling better. I don't need to take my antidepressant.
Oh, yeah, I can stop.
Well, that's because
or I'm
it's
feeling
working.
worse. I'm going to double them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a patient once that was taking aspirin for pain, and he thought, well, if I take a bunch of aspirin, it'll make me feel a bunch better.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Except for your liver.
Kind of, it's like it's not good for your body.
Silly.
Yeah, people are funny. Take your meds. See what you've done here. You've got great things.
Well,
it's
I think
interesting.
we're just looking at it from different perspectives.
No, it's interesting. Yeah, different perspectives.
Yeah, different perspectives. All right, your last one.
I'm kind of embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed. You might be embarrassed by this one.
Uh-oh.
Go to a nudist colony.
Yeah, I'm super modest, and maybe it's because of that whole wave experience. But the thought of people go to nudist colonies to be naked in public?
But you're saying from the aspect of you would not go and be naked, not that you don't want to go and see other people naked.
No, yeah, like...
You don't want to be the naked person.
No, like...
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't want to...
Participate in the nudist colony.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just... The thought of, for fun... going and taking off my clothes in front of people, that's never going to happen. Ever.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that now.
Well, because people do that.
Yes, they do.
And I have experience at a nudist beach. Did I ever tell you this?
Wait, was this before you got your pants ripped off in the big wave?
This is after.
Event? This is after.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a beach.
We got a couple minutes left.
Famous beach in California.
Okay.
And
a famous nude beach? Or just a famous beach?
Well, both, I guess.
Okay.
I just didn't know it was a nude beach. My roommate at the time, who was more familiar with this area, knew that this particular beach.
How old are you?
This was in college.
Okay, so you're college age. Okay.
And so I'm in California, and I think I'm going to overcome my fears and learn how to surf because I'm in California. I should surf. It's kind of like
and you double knotted your swim trunks.
Oh, you know I did. And anyway, early in the morning we start surfing. I'm learning. I'm having fun with my friend, and then other people start coming out, and they're not wearing clothes. And I said, Josh, what the heck? There's a bunch of men. There are no women there, but and we got the heck out of there. But he knew the whole time. But he didn't tell me. Oh, he knew. He knew.
Why did he go there? Just to mess with you, or was it because there was good waves there?
Well, good waves. It's a good wave. It's a good place for me to learn.
Oh, okay.
And
naked
beach. It's a naked beach.
I have not been to a nude beach.
But
never
so
experienced
that to me, it's less of the. Well, actually, I mean, I don't really want to see people.
Yes. And most of the time I've heard, like on nude beaches, these aren't the people you'd want to see naked. So
yeah, that's kind of weird. Anyway, you'll never see me. I'll never drink my cereal milk either. I don't care what you say.
So, okay. Well, that's interesting take on
anyway, interesting things, what we won't do. But I love what you said, because what you said actually has value to society. Mine doesn't. But it's fun.
Don't drink your cereal milk has some societal value.
And if we thought about it more, I could probably think of another 100 things.
We'll do it again.
But yeah,
we'll do it again, and we'll look at it from different perspectives.
Yeah. This is good. This is good.
That was an interesting topic.
All right. Well, let's get to the rest of our day here. It's been fun, Matt. Thank you.
As usual.
Good idea for a podcast. This is awesome.
See ya.
Be safe out there.
Thank you for listening to EMS, the Erik and Matt Show.